Welcome everyone on this episode 72 of Star Nation News. I am welcoming you today to follow the latest news in the galaxy that impact the future of Earth, directly or indirectly, and chat a bit about what is going on. So, as usual, fasten your seatbelt and engage! After the demise of the Nebu Empire, in the star system there has been some changes, but also gifts, poison gifts that the Nebu left to the populations of Earth. During decades, since the Nebu, the Orion Gray group, had made contact with the Earth, a dark series of events occurred. Despite you knowing anything about it. In 1955, the Nebu Orion group made agreements with the Eisenhower administration, the MJ-12. The CIA was just created after the Roswell crash, which was a Trojan horse put there by the Nebu to prepare their plan. You know, you have been dealing, and your governments have been dealing, with a higher form of intelligence. Not only because the Nebu were more advanced civilization and older than Earth civilization, but primarily because they were a hive consciousness. And a hive consciousness computes 1,000 times faster than an individuated consciousness such as humans. Information goes instant, is shared instantly. So orders and actions are performed quasi-instantly. And also, computing that fast allows the beings from this culture, this civilization, this species, to think further ahead, quicker. You can't defeat such a structure with intelligence when you're human. So you have to use ruse, which is how they were defeated, by infecting their queen with a virus. The Nebu, the Orion group, had a plan to take Earth, but they couldn't do it as such because they would have breached the Prime Directive and got the Federation in a war, at the same time devastating everything on Earth. At that time, the Nebu were an empire that had grown from the Eban Betelgeuse, the Betelgeuse Ebans, who were Taal-Ghiars, and they are also called on Earth the long-nosed Grays. Not that they would be the immortal with the only humans looking like Grays with a nose. No nose means it's not human, it's gray. In that case, can be other things as well. But they were called long-nosed Grays because they had respiratory apparel that would allow them to breathe in the Earth atmosphere in daylight, full daylight, also because they thrive on ultraviolet. So that was a device that would allow them to be on Earth, meeting with Earth people by daylight, and do these agreements that have been the really dark, dark ages of this modern humanity culture on Earth. They were composed of course, the groups of Greys from the Orion zone, but also they created an association of malevolence that is now collapsed. This association of malevolence with other cultures was called the Alliance of the Six. The Alliance of the Six was composed by The Betelgeuse, Eban at the head of them, and all their subcultures of the Orion zone. The Zeta Reticuli Grays, there is nothing good in Zeta Reticuli. The Zeta Reticuli Grays are always sent forward to convince civilization to sign agreements. I'll get back to it. The third were the Kielitokert, tall whites from constellation Vela. And they were the one described in Charles Hall's book series, Millennial Hospitality. The tall whites were in Area 51, and they are also described by Stephen Chua, who worked there. The fourth culture was the Andromedan Mitra, from Galaxy Andromeda, not the constellation, Galaxy Andromeda. Mitra were tall grays, and they are the most hateful and dangerous of all grays. You have also, as fifth culture, the Cygnus Solipsirae. The Cygnus Solipsirae are grays who are not hive consciousness, small grays, but still doesn't mean, you're not, you cannot be evil. So, and the sixth one was the Siccar Empire. The Nebu had everything to win to associate with the Siccar Empire because they were competitors. And you better make agreements with your competitors to get to do whatever you want on. For instance, that blue planet in the solar system at the edge of this galaxy. Well, not really the edge, but... Well, the Alliance of the Six has been working with the dark side of Earth governments who were trapped. They were trapped, because of the Prime Directive. You cannot attack a planet like this or offer technology for bribery like this. You need to use rules. That's what the Greys have done. They gave technology through crashes. Oh, our ship crashed. It's not our fault. We're not breaching Prime Directive. And they got away like this. Roswell crash was a Trojan horse saying, hey, look, technology, you want some more? Sign with us. That was what it was about. There's a book, Alien Interview with Matilda O'Donnell. Well, this book depicts a true story of a true interview with a gray entity, a synthetic, that was programmed to trick and convince humans that they better associate with them. Part of the program, and the main key, I would say, was to make believe people, humans of Earth, that these small, tiny imps are us from the future on Earth. Well, that was a long stretch to believe, but so many people have believed it because this agenda has been developed and nourished and infiltrated throughout all the New Age groups and medias, making people believe that the Greys were humans of Earth from the future, which is not the truth. Humans in the future are humans. That is how a civilization, and this civilization, as a planetary level, evolves. And if you read Koldas, you will see all the proofs that you are making it into a beautiful civilization. Human, 100% human. So the trick and the lie was to make people believe that the Greys were you from the future. There's still a lot of people believing this bullshit. Now, what did they leave behind? They knew that sooner or later, because they have time technology, they knew at one point they would be defeated. What did they bring? programs. In the millions of people they have abducted, and I say at least 1 million per year for decades. In the millions of people they've abducted, they programmed a lot of abductees and sent them back to promote their agenda. They also bred hundreds of millions of hybrids from abductees. And these hybrids were all, of course, programmed. Most of them were sent on cargo ships behind the Orion Nebula, and they have been found recently. If you follow Star Nation News, you know all about this. But a small amount was left on Earth. When I say a small amount, I am talking in the frame of galactic counting. Small amount is millions. These people are hybrids. They do not know about it. They have been taken as children, brought into onboard gray ships, and educated to be a good gray servant and promoter. Many people remember under hypnosis being on board ship schools. And there were grays there teaching them. Yes, of course. These were the programmings. Programmed to promote the gray agenda, that the grays are good, are us from the future, and that we must welcome them. And that's the trick. The grays had bred all these hybrids that have been found in all these cargoes behind the Orion Nebula, in the purpose to bring them back to Earth, to colonize the planet, because grays strive in ultraviolet light and different atmosphere, and they cannot really breathe and live on Earth, so they had to create hybrids. And when you welcome the hybrids, you do not breach the Prime Directive. That was their plan. So all they had to do is to program enough people that they would convince the other humans that they need to welcome willingly to be invaded. To be invaded. Parallel to this, Greys have been very clever. Of course they are. They were, because Nebu are dissolved now. To really make sure and secure that all these programmings will get out there, they influenced the creation of a technique that would not be clinical hypnosis, but would be a hybrid type of hypnosis that would become very trendy and that would be taught by these Greys, and that would appeal, attract all the people who felt a connection to the stars, be they starseed or be they Grey hybrids, to go and see, because these techniques invited people to look at their past lives among the stars, and it has been a trend, and it has affected a lot of people, because through these non-secured hypnosis sessions, people would say, oh, this is my higher self talking, but it may have been entities they were connected to, such as Grace, talking through them. And the information would not be something really reliable. So I would encourage to look into it. You want to know about yourself. You want to know about your past lives, about who you are, about your connections to the stars or not. You do not need hypnosis for that, because there is a business out there that will take advantage of you. Clinical hypnosis is a good tool to heal your wounds, your traumas. QHHT is also a good tool when it comes to therapy and healing your traumas, your wounds, your insecurities. But when it comes to make a business out of it and trying to contact ETs using a client, as to say, it is very dangerous and very misleading. There are people out there who are not ethical hypnotherapists in QHHT. I know ethical hypnotherapists who are amazing, and I advise people to use QHHT as well for therapy only. But if your therapist are coercing you into signing an agreement for your material to be used by them on YouTube, in conferences, or writing books about it, refuse. Because this is a business, nourishing certain people's ego and purse. Never sign such an agreement, because then it doesn't come into the therapy, you know? It's not this, it's something else. It's you being taken advantage of. And contacting entities through someone who is in a state of hypnosis is wrong. You don't do that. It's so dangerous. So please be careful to choose a therapist that is only interested by your healing, and who is humble enough to not use your private therapy material for personal gain. Everyone you will see on the front stage of social medias claiming they know information through their clients' sessions are grifters. They used their clients to build their own fame. So be very careful. And the information that comes through when they try to contact entities, or they say higher self, how do they know it's a higher self? When you come across interviewing, well, that's what it is, right? Hybrids who are programmed or in contact with entities. If you put the information out as a truth, you mislead thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people. What comes in a private session should remain as a private session. That is when clinical hypnosis has ethics and talks directly to the part of the brain that is in relation with the emotion, the traumas, and they're going to work on that. So be very careful. It's been a trend. And poor Dolores Cannon didn't know about all of this hacking and grays and stuff. So anyone, you will most of the time see these hypnotists in QHHT promoting the Grays agenda. And this gray agenda carry a lot of operations, such as Galactic Federation of Light, Jerusalem Ship, Ashtar Shiran, that's the name. Not Flat Earth, it's another thing. But you have so many things. And Galactic Federation of Light and Grays are our friends, are the biggest hacking of all times in the New Age movements. I am here to guide you. I am here to help you avoid the traps. If you want to remember your past lives, if you want to remember who you are, the only way is within. Use hypnosis, whatever method, as a therapy only to heal your traumas. Period. If you want to remember who you are, just for the fun, go within, do the work yourself, because remembering is activating. Nobody can tell you anything. Nobody can activate you. There's another business here, people selling activation packs. I am concerned because many people look outwards and they lose themselves and they are abused by all these grifters. You only need to go within to meet yourself through meditation, through manifestation, to connect with your ancestors from Earth or from the stars. Find your own frequency, do the work. The ETs are not going to do any work for you because they know you are the ones who need to activate yourselves. Nobody can do it. Nobody's entitled, is allowed to do it. You need to do the work. Go within. Find your own frequency through the silence of your mind. Cut all distractions. And meet who you are. And when you meet who you are, you meet with the frequency of the soul group, the soul cluster that is in resonance with your frequency. And then you hear them. You feel them first. And there's no doubt you are in contact with ETs, or if you are from Earth, Earth ancestors. You have the power. You are on the seat of control, okay? You are driving your own ship. Nobody drives it for you, okay? So I will end this here saying, hypnosis is an amazing tool, whatever the method, for therapy. When it comes to knowing about your former lives or being in contact with your soul group, you do the job. You need to do the work, otherwise you will not evolve. You will not raise your frequency. You will not reconnect with those you love who are in the stars. You understand? This is a very important message. Stop giving money to people who say to you, I'm going to activate you, or I'm going to put you in contact with your star family, or I'm going to tell you who you were in a previous life, Cleopatra or King of the World, or of Lyra. Anyways, okay? Now, pass on the message. Regarding what is going on in this galaxy, well, the Seeker Queen is still held on a prison world. She will not be killed because she is a central key point that is still controlling the rogue operations of the disassembled empire, conducting kamikaze operations. So this is an ongoing story that we will be speaking about in the following Star Nation news as it is unfolding right now. The Galactic Federation of Worlds is over delighted to know that they are welcoming Earth into the greater galactic community of Nataru, this galaxy. And we are, as a planetary civilization on Earth, joining the Galactic Federation of Worlds, which is a military structure in charge of taking care of the balance and justice in this galaxy. Contrarily to what some ignorant people are saying, the Galactic Federation of Worlds is not separate into different faction fighting. This is counterintelligence or gibberish. The Galactic Federation of Worlds may be tough sometimes because they are a military organization. They need to stick, and they want to stick to their prime directive that works in favor of evolution and based on the greater laws of the universe and creation. People who have been brainwashed by reptilians and greys will say that it's not a good thing, and they will try to turn your brain around to make you doubt about the genuinity of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. It's very simple. When we join the Galactic Federation of Worlds officially, because we are now in the probation period, we will be protected instantly if anything occurs that looks like an invasion, for instance, or an attack. The Federation protects the worlds physically, directly, by intervention, direct intervention, when the civilization is part of the Federation, because they are at the same level. So there's no prime directive breach anymore. If you're not in the Federation, it's more complex. You are subject and vulnerable to invasions. So we have all hopes, all reasons to join the Federation, which we have already half a foot on in it, because not only we benefit of their protection, but also we share the technology. Because we are considered at the same level as the Federation, there's no more prime directive, so they are going to give us all the technology, all the knowledge, in all domains, to help this civilization blossom. And I'm not talking only about technology, I'm talking also about wisdom and knowledge of the universe. So we are moving forward on this planet towards something amazing. I will leave you here and meet you next week for another Star Nation news. And now, I am inviting you to follow me to the Caelum constellation and meet another amazing culture. Fight for your rights. Take the side of defending the oppressed. Do not watch. Do not be neutral in a war. Fight for what is right. Defend the abused. If you do not do it, you defend the abuser. Stand up, humanity. It is time. The 8th planet in the Farak system, orbiting a yellow spectral type G8 KOV star, also hosts a Taal-Ghiar colony from Nayan in the Sirius B star system. Their journey is somewhat unusual compared to the typical stories of Taal-Ghiar groups leaving the Sirius systems due to the increasing corruption in the Ashtar Alliance. The Tash, a group of Nayan scientists, embarked on an exploration mission to discover new resource materials and minerals to improve the performance of their starships. However, they found themselves being chased by a squad of the Sikaar Empire, and their ship eventually crashed on Akrom 8. This small group of Nyan scientists were fortunate enough to find a planet with suitable conditions and eventually managed to survive. However, they were soon confronted by a hostile indigenous culture. Their ship had crashed and their communication systems were destroyed. So the Galactic Federation of Worlds search teams took a long time to find them. The Tash were met with fear and hostility, and they had to hide and defend themselves against Reds for a long period of time. When the Galactic Federation eventually discovered them, the small Tash group had just managed to reach a peace agreement with the Kroll after engaging in communication and cultural exchanges. This indigenous culture, named Kroll, was a Stage 2 civilization. So this situation violated the Prime Directive. As scientists, the Tash decided to remain on Akrom 8 for study purposes, accepting the condition that they would remain at the same level of technological evolution as the Kroll. And with time, both groups developed into a harmonious spacefaring civilization.
Star Nation News was brought to you by Elena Danan. Don't miss the latest news every Monday on Elena Danan's channel. Video directed by StefZak.